Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. That's right, the video game show that is not hosted by an annoying e-beggar. There is no Patreon, no super chats. That's right, we just talk about the games we love and how fun it is to hoard them. Collect them. Now, with that said, let's get ready for the show. On today's episode, this show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Oh man, there was a picture in the background that shouldn't have been in the background. That's why I had to take down yesterday's video, guys. And I was already frustrated because I had to shoot that video like 4 times. Anyway, and I had to take it down again, and I just want to re-upload it, maybe edit it, but I couldn't because I deleted the video after I uploaded it, so it's a big old mess. So let's get into it right now. Whoever messed up Cornhole, right? Whoever messed up the controls for Cornhole should be fired. I'm criticizing the work, guys. I'm about to criticize the work, not the people, right? I want to keep the message on point here because there's a couple of things, and for those of you who saw the video yesterday, let me apologize. You know, you're going to hear some of the same things again, some of the same criticisms here. But I have to do it based on what the CFO has said over the last few days, right? There's a couple of things that stuck out to me, and one of them was that the company, the organization, was cash hungry. I'm paraphrasing. You guys can go look at his interviews to get his direct quotes, right? But I'm just giving you the gist of it. That's number one. Number two, that there was going to be different levels of fundraising, right? Is that going to be crowdfunding? I don't know. So I want to touch a couple of points here because a couple of those things are actually quite concerning. I want the console to launch. I'm excited for some of the games. So, you know, I'm ordering the console, you know, my wood grain hopefully comes in. Everything's being announced like it's gonna launch. So who knows, right? Who knows? At this point, I couldn't tell you whether it is or isn't. But based on the points that he raised, I want to say a couple of things here because I'm going to start off here with the fundraising. The reason I want to start off with that is because many of you, right, part of my old man cringe community, make a lot of videos, you know, because you're excited for the console and what have you. I don't know that this is going to stop any of you, especially if you feel that, you know, Tommy is your friend or whatever. You know, friends is friends, business is business, okay? It's simple as that, right? And let me start off by saying that I'm not a financial advisor, and if you need financial help, you should consult a professional. Now, based on that, let me tell you this. Now that he said that there's going to be more fundraising out there, if it's crowdfunding, I don't know. He said there's going to be different levels, maybe a C funding, maybe a D funding, I don't know. But if any of it is targeted to crowdfunding, if the target is going to be crowdfunding down the line, it's going to be people like, you know, people like you or me or many of you that are watching this channel. Whenever you're going to invest in any company, you have to do your due diligence, right? You are. But you also have to be careful that you're not promoting the company without compensation or without knowing what you're getting into while they're crowdfunding. Many of the criticisms that you guys were very sensitive to before is that you were being called shills. And you were acting like if you didn't know why, and I'll take it at face value that many of you didn't know why people were calling you shills. The fact is that you were pumping up the console while they were raising money, even though they said they weren't. So I sort of gave a lot of people a pass because, you know, when you started making videos, the company was not fundraising and wasn't crowdfunding, and then they went back on their word. Let's call it what it is, and then they did. But now that the CFO has been completely upfront, you know, and he's doing his job, he's saying, hey, I'm going to fundraise in the future. There's going to be more fundraising coming up. And if any of that is crowdfunding, right, please be aware that if you're making these videos during this period, you know, people might say the same thing again. Now, if you're getting compensated for it, and hopefully they do, right? Hopefully they do compensate you for your work. But if they don't, right? And there's nothing legal about you making videos, promoting the console, and getting a sponsorship. You do you, right? That's part of the business. That's great, right? But if you're making videos that might be used for promotion later, please be aware of that. However you're going to do your videos, if you're not getting anything, if you don't own any part of the company, if you're not investing, say so ahead of time, just to protect yourselves. I know many of you are good people and were really hurt by a lot of the comments. So please, just please protect yourselves and be aware that that is going on. As excited as you might be for the console, you could be as excited as I am, right? But if you're doing these things, they have ramifications, and they're doing it to make money, right? They're not, the business of a company is to make money for their shareholders, right? To raise money in many areas, however they can do it. And you guys need to be aware of what you're getting yourself into when you do these. Now, if you're going to just make them because Tommy's your friend or whatever, whatever, but you don't get to claim ignorance now at all, right? Because they're they're being very upfront with what their plan is moving forward. So please be aware of that if you're going to keep on making, super complimentary videos while the company is fundraising, because that will be a fair criticism people will make of you. I hope they turn over the PR to a professional firm, because right now it's just a complete shit show. And let me say this again, I'm not criticizing, okay? I'm not criticizing anybody personally. I'm criticizing the work. Look, this shit you can't make up. PETA's involved now. Some guy shooting vermin, and they call PETA. You can't make this shit up. Anyway, guys, and this comes from not handling this publicity part of the launch correctly. It's not being done professionally. I'm sure Tommy's a nice man. I'm from everything that I heard, he's a great guy. But you can't be good at everything, right? And you can only judge things by their results. And the result is now that you have an army of trolls with DSP level trolling after you. That's what you have. So just take the L and just turn it over to somebody that does this for a living professionally. It would be the best thing for the company. Now, do they think they're going to listen to me? Of course not. They're going to keep doing what they're doing, and this is just going to keep on going south on them from everything that I can tell. I hope it's not an ego thing where these guys want to be on camera, but really for the good of the company, for the good of the investors, they should turn this over to professionals, because, man, it's, if I told you your grade was a C- right now, I would be being very generous. Should you invest in this company? Again, not financial advisor, but you should do your due diligence when you're going to invest in any company. When we look at this company, right, we have 50 employees. We take it at face value, what they've said before. Everybody earns six figures. That's $100,000 a year, and that's $5 million. Yeah, $5 million for everybody, right? That's an employee. We're leaving out management of this. Of course, it's going to be more. But if you look at the market cap of this company, from everything that I could see, it is about anywhere from $13 to $16 million, right? That's the market cap that I can see available now. It could be different, but let's just take that. From 2018, it was around 13 to 13 million. That means that your payroll is almost 30% of your market cap. That is incredibly, incredibly high, right? For a startup, that is probably not the best. Let's just say that. If I was looking to invest in a company, right? Now am I saying that they're doing anything wrong or anything like that? No. What I am saying is, when you're going to invest in a company, you have to look at the numbers. It's okay to be excited about a product and everything else, but when we're talking about money, money's a different thing. You got to show me results, right? You got to show me results. And if we look at this company, from 2018 to now, we're looking at 3 years, right? Let's just roughly say 3 years. That's going to be $15 million, $15 million in payroll of just labor, right? And if your labor is 30% of your market cap, right? Yikes! And what is your overhead, right? If you're spending $100,000 on labor, what per head? What is your monthly nut? It's going to be huge, right? So roughly, right? If we think about it this way, if we think about, okay, well, you have a $15 million average cap, right, each year for the 3 years, that's $45 million plus, and that's just the company worth, okay? But I would say that would be fairly close to what their yearly nut is, specifically because of what they're raising, what they're trying to raise and what they've said. So I'm guesstimating here, right? But it would be a fair guesstimation because that's what I would do if I was looking at any other company, right? If this was company X making widgets, I would say that it would be fair to say that in the last 3 years, the efforts of $60 million thereabouts have been leveraged in one way or another to produce this console, right? When we add up all the numbers, I might be off $10 million, but let's just say around there. Okay, what do you have to show for it? Let me say, whoever screwed up cornhole mechanics should be immediately fired, right? If I'm an investor and I'm going to put in more money in this company, I got to see who's doing this. Have you seen any evidence of that? Have you seen any evidence of anybody being held, to account for these mishaps? I haven't. I saw a lot of smiles when they were talking about the cornhole. They shouldn't be any smiles, right? I'm not smiling. I'm waiting for my console. Right now, excuses only sound good to the people making them, right? Again, I'm judging your work. I'm judging your results if I'm going to be an investor. So I don't mean to sound overly negative here, but if you're asking money of people, these are the questions that future investors are going to be asking of you, right? Why was it so late in the process that you discovered that this mechanic didn't work? And it just isn't any game. This is one of your pillars. This is not good, right? If you guys remember the first video that I made the first time I criticized the AMICO was when they sent out that unit without updating it, right, for review. Because of my background, I saw what happened, and I even drew out a diagram for you guys, and I explained to you why that showed me that their quality system was weak, right? And that's what I would infer in any situation in manufacturing, right? If I had to do an assessment of any type where a failure had occurred, that's what I go in assuming, right, based on results. Because when you get the wrong product, right, when you get a non-working product, it's always a big issue, right? As I told you back then, whoever was in charge of shipping that unit out in any company that I've ever worked at of that size immediately would have been fired. Number one. Number two, if I had to do an audit, right, now that we have a second failure, right, you usually do an audit when you have a failure of this type where you go this far into the process and somebody didn't cut the mustard, which they didn't, right? I'm telling you, the conversation of whoever was heading that project of getting the mechanics for cornhole done would be like this. Okay, you have 24 hours to get out of here, and 23 of them are already gone, so please pick up your things and leave, right? Because why, right? I know many of you might think this is really harsh, but at that point you're trying to protect the rest of the company from this type of incompetence, right? Because it is incompetence. You guys call it a happy mistake, you can call it whatever you want, but at that point, the people that failed to do their job up to this point put the rest of the company in jeopardy. They put the rest of everybody else's job in jeopardy. And a company that's this cash hungry as has been described, that could be fatal, right? Because you need money coming in. Well, you're not going to have any money coming in if you can't ship any units because you screwed up the controls for one of the pillars of your platform, right? This is just not, some game that you were going to release in the future. This is a game that was supposed to come out right out with the console. So this is a big problem, right? And it doesn't seem to me, right, as an investor, as a potential future investor, that they have a result-driven system. What do I mean? Let's talk about another company, right? Company X. Let's say we had a company, somebody's going to start the Genesis Project 2 or the Dreamcast 2, right? And they want to start off, in parallel with this company. But instead of hiring 50 people at $100,000, they start off maybe with 14 or 15 people. And what they do is they farm out the duties and they use their engineers, mostly as quality engineers, to grade the work that's being outsourced, either locally or to different companies, because in the end, it's about making money, saving money. You already have people from other countries working, so you can't say, well, we're not using any foreign labor, because some of your games are being developed overseas. But it would be a much more efficient system, right? Because at that point, you're having contractors, you can put a small deposit down, right? You can reward them as the project advances, and you don't pay anybody until the job is done. What we have here is you have in-house labor that didn't meet their production quotas, and the money's lost, right? You're not going to get that money back. Those $100,000 per head that were spent developing these controls for Cornhole are just trash, and you're starting over again. How much you can save of that, I don't know. But fundamentally, you have changed the way you control Cornhole, if you think about it. You think about it, I can no longer give that to Grandma, and Grandma can just go like this, or to Grandpa. Now they have to aim. Now you're asking a little more. It would have been different, right, if you had chosen to just, backwards engineer the Wii controller or the Wii U controller. There wouldn't be that much to do, but you decided to go from scratch. So your quality system should be dead nuts. Because if you don't have that, especially on these kinds of prototypes, if you don't have the people that have the background to do these kind of things, this is what happens, right? So what I'm saying, if you're a future investor, look at all these things. These things are going to be answered in the future when they make the pitch to you. What is the money going to be used for? What have you done with this money in the past, right? And with this much money being spent in development, and what do you have to show for it? Let's think about that. Do we have all the games that were promised finished? No. Okay? And again, guys, this is really hard for me because right now I'm talking to you as an investor, right? I'm excited for the console. I'm excited for the games. But it would be, I couldn't, how would I say, I couldn't see myself not telling you these things ahead of time, especially if you're part of, the old man cringe community, you're part of the AMICO cult, whatever. They're maybe looking to invest this long term because you feel excited about the console. You have to look at the things that haven't happened, right? You need to hold people accountable based on results if money is what you're looking for, right? When a company's looking for money, brass tacks, you got to show me what you did. And right now, do we have all the games complete? We don't. Do we have the console complete? We don't. Is it going to launch in time? We don't know, right? Are the controllers done? Not according to them. This is all information according to them, right? There are some games that are complete, but not all of them are complete, right? And there's so many things we can go back in. I mean, would we be better off having an Earthworm Jim where you have like a great game, a great launch game, instead of having all these, B-tier games, let's just call them? Probably. If you look at many past launches, the name of the game is the game, right? So the Nintendo 64 is a perfect example. Launched with 2 games, right? But you had Pilot Wings and Mario. But Mario was the killer app. You can keep that in stock, right? But they decided to go the way they did. And this is what we have now. So please weigh those things. If crowdfunding comes up, right? Have these questions answered. Am I saying there's anything nefarious going on here? No, I think most of it is, rookie mistakes. Again, I'm criticizing the results of your work. I'm not criticizing anybody in particular, and I'm doing that because I don't want this video to come across as, just hate or trolling, because that's not what it is. I've ordered the console. I want to play Flying Tigers. That's the game that I really want to play, right? Among others, but that's the one I would say I'm most excited for. Now, before it was Redux, but Flying Tigers is overtaken. But now that the CFO has said those things, I wanted to bring those things up and make it part of the conversation, because I don't want people to just blindly, do things and then not look at the consequences that their actions have after everything's said and done. Friends is friends, but money is money. Those are two different things.
New videos every Monday and Sunday. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Gen X Gamer. Remember to like and subscribe, click that notification bell, and remember, never ever be afraid to be happy. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.